like that. Welcome to daily discussion. The first topic is key discussion at the second BIMSTEC Foreign Ministers Retreat. So India hosted the second BIMSTEC Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. BIMSTEC stands for Bay of Bengal. It was BIST-AC first, then BIMSTEC-AC, or BIMSTEC as it is called. Consists of Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand. Economic cooperation. A foreign minister retreat was held in New Delhi to discuss cooperation in security, trade and connectivity. A retreat prepared for the 6th summit. The event highlighted India's strategic focus on strengthening ties with its eastern neighborhood. What are the key discussions at the retreat? The retreat was divided into two parts. First session, assessment of the cooperation. Participants reviewed the current state of regional cooperation within the BIMSTEC. Implementation of outcomes. India presented key outcomes from the first retreat. The second retreat organized by India before the BIMSTEC summit took place. Center of excellence. Okay. So India presented a key outcome of the first retreat, Center of Excellence. India that ideas were shared for establishing centers focusing on agriculture, disaster management and maritime transport. These are the focus area for all the nations or member nations of the BIMSTEC, and it was highlighted at the second retreat. Okay, so focus area was agriculture, disaster management and maritime transport. Then health initiative. India supported cancer research and e-visa for patients from the BIMSTEC states. Sri Lanka proposed focusing on kidney disease, other renal issues, because this is growing in the country and also their cases are growing in India. But Sri Lanka proposed focusing on the kidney disease, and India supported cancer research and e-visa for the patient from the BIMSTEC country for treatment in India suffering from cancer. Okay. Private sector involvement highlighted the need for private sector participation in trade and promotion of young entrepreneurs. Security concern emphasized the importance of connectivity, cyber security and countering trafficking of narcotics and illegal arms. Second session, first session took up all these issues. The second session, country expectations, discuss individual countries' expectations for the upcoming summit, because as India is going to hold the summit, so different country have different expectations, and the second summit highlighted on the country's expectation. Okay, different country had different expectations, and the second session took off or discusses the expectation of different countries in this area. Okay. Then resource mapping. Sri Lanka stressed the need to map mineral resources and integrate production stages. Blue economy. Bangladesh highlighted cooperation in the blue economy and suggested banning fishing during the breeding season, because many of these countries, most of the country are the riparian state of Bay of Bengal. So fishing is a major activity for most of the country, and what we call as fishing which is not affecting the fish stock is to be taken into consideration by all of them. So fishing during the breeding season has its own negative impact, but unregulated fishing, as it is popularly called as, unregulated fishing is a big threat to the fisheries resources of the area. That's why they decided to go on banning fishing during the breeding seasons. Tourism and culture. Bhutan emphasized tourism and cultural exchanges. Regional synergy. Nepal promoted a whole of the region approach for a result-oriented forum. Then non-traditional security. Thailand and Myanmar discussed non-traditional security domain and combating online scams, because these are also growing in the member countries. So that is why the country discuss on all these issues. Okay. So Thailand and Myanmar discussed non-traditional security domains and combating online scams. Okay, so what is the significance of the development at the second preparatory summit? So strategic positioning enhances India's role in the Bay of Bengal, countering China's influence and strengthening regional stability. Economic access provide the northeastern region with crucial sea access via Bangladesh and Myanmar. Regional cooperation fosters collaboration in cancer research, e-visas and combating illegal activities, improving overall regional health and security. Indo-Pacific presence reinforces India's presence in the Indo-Pacific by aligning with Asian members, Myanmar and Thailand. Resource management encourages sustainable development through resource mapping and blue economy initiatives such as Sri Lanka's mineral resource mapping and Bangladesh focus on sustainable fishing. Policy milestones make a decade for India's Act East and Neighborhood First policy, reflecting ongoing effort to nurture regional collaboration. Okay, so this is what BIMSTEC as India is the second preparatory meeting or the second retreat as it is called of BIMSTEC. These are the issues discussed by the member countries, and this retreat was hosted by India. Then Supreme Court allows state to tax mineral rights and mineral bearing lands. This article discusses Supreme Court ruling that allows state to tax mineral rights and mineral bearing lands. This decision strengthens states' legislative power. However, there is concern it could lead to uneven mineral cost and increase industrial product prices. The Supreme Court ruling, the Supreme Court ruled in 8-1 that states can tax mineral rights and mineral bearing lands. This was given by the ruling given by the Supreme Court of India. Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud found no limitation in the 1957 Act. The court saw royalty as a contractual consideration, not a tax. State could tax mineral bearing lands under the entry 49, a general power to tax the land. Why this ruling significant? Strengthens state's power. The ruling reinforces state because mineral is the central prerogative earlier. So this right given to the states by the Supreme Court will definitely strengthen the revenue potentiality and the power of the state in taxing and getting revenue from the minerals. Right now what they are getting is the royalty only. Strengthening state's power, the ruling reinforces state's legislative authority to tax mineral rights and lands, protecting it from parliament's interference. Previously, entry 50 in the state list allowed state to tax mineral rights, but was thought to be limited by the parliament's law. State can only do this so as per the parliament's law. Clarify taxation limit. It clarified that the Mines and Mineral Development Regulation Act, MMDR Act 1957, does not limit states' taxation power. New revenue avenues. So states gain a new taxation avenue, adding their ability to fund welfare schemes and services. Royalty clarification. The court determined that royalty is not a tax but a contractual consideration, allowing states more freedom in taxation. Support fiscal federalism. This decision promotes fiscal federalism and state autonomy in the financial matters. What are the concerns about this ruling? Unhealthy competition. Justice V.V. Nagaratna's dissent warns of state entering unhealthy competition to derive the revenue. Increased cost. This could lead to uneven and uncoordinated spikes in mineral cost, affecting purchases. High mineral cost may result in increased prices for industrial products. Market exploitation. There is a risk of the national market being exploited for the arbitrage. Future amendment. The center might amend the law to limit or prohibit states from taxing mineral rights, potentially leaving mining activity untaxed. Okay, so this is what this will definitely give more power to the states in the domain of taxing the minerals and generating more revenue, which will supplement to the state's financial or the revenue generation and financial stability and strength of the state government. So this ruling by the Supreme Court is noteworthy on this ground. Fine. Then role of UDIAC plus in the education system. UDI plus stands for United District Information System for Education plus. UDISE plus. The article discusses India's vast education system, which includes around 15 lakh schools, 97 lakh teachers, and about 26.5 crore students. It explains the role of the UDISC plus platform in managing and securing student data, ensuring compliance with the privacy law, and the need for clear protocol to protect children's personal information. What is UDISC plus and APAAR? The UDISC Plus is United District Information System for the Education Plus, launched in 2018 by the Ministry of Education. It collects real-time data on school infrastructure, teacher, student enrollment and performance. The upper automated permanent academic account registry introduced with the National Education Policy 2020. It provides a unique identifier for the students, collecting academic records and personal information like Aadhaar numbers through voluntary consent. What does the UDISC Plus play in the Indian education system? Data collection and management. UDISC Plus collects real-time information on school infrastructure, teacher, student enrollment and academic performance. Policy formulation. This data helps the Ministry of Education create outcome-based policies to enhance education quality. Resource allocation. By improving resource distribution, UDISC Plus ensures that schools receive necessary support. Monitoring program. UDISC Plus aids in tracking educational program and trained to optimize their effectiveness. Student data integration. Link with the PAR. It helps manage student admissions and reduce dropout rates. Collaboration, work with DigiLocker and EdTech company to modernize the education. What legal standards apply? Supreme Court's three-part test. State action must have a legitimate interest, be necessary and proportionate, and be imposed by law. Right to privacy, recognized as a fundamental right in the 2018 Justice K.S. Puttaswamy case. Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023 requires specific and voluntary consent for data collection and sharing. And data minimization, ensure only necessary data is collected. And Aadhaar integration, upper and UDISC Plus must comply with privacy and security standards. So, what are the operational challenges to this? Privacy and consent. There is limited guidance on obtaining verifiable parental consent for minors data, because minors data can only be disclosed by their parents, not by the student themselves. So, this needs the parental consent for this. Okay, so because unless they are not that sure, the parents will not share the specific data of their words. Regulatory updates. The data sharing policy for school education needs updating to reflect regulatory changes post the DPDP Act 2023. Okay, Data Privacy Data Protection Act 2023. Identification of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. DPDP, Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. Identification of the actors. There is a need to identify rules such as data fiduciary, data processor and data principal for liability purposes. Grievance redressal. There is no clear mechanism to grievance redressal related to data sharing and collection. Standard operating procedure. The absence of technical and legal protocol affect the management of data authenticity and stakeholder obligations. This is what. So the new changes, if accepted with all the rules and regulations, will be of great help to the students and the teaching fraternity also. The next topic is the cheaper cancer drug. The finance minister has in her budget speech 24-25 announced custom duty exemption on three cancer drugs: the trastuzumab, deruxtecan, osimertinib, and the durvalumab. These drugs previously had 10% duty. Approximately 1 lakh patients in India require trastuzumab, deruxtecan, osimertinib, and the durvalumab. Cancer cases in India are rising with 14.6 lakh new cases in 2022, up from 14.2 lakhs in the previous year. Cancer death also increased to 8.08 lakh in 2022. Women have a higher cancer incidence rate, 103.6% per 1 lakh population compared to men, and 94.1%. Common cancer for men includes lungs, mouth, and prostate, while for women they are breast, cervix, and the ovary. For the targeted cancer drugs purpose, attack only cancer cells, leaving normal cell unaffected. Function, target specific genetic changes in cancer cell that promote growth, division, and spread. Advantages: better outcomes and fewer side effects than the traditional chemotherapy, which affect all cells indiscriminately. Immunotherapy trains the patient's immune system to identify and attack cancer cells rather than targeting the cancer directly with the drugs. How do the three drugs work? Trastuzumab, it is an antibody drug conjugate combining a lab-made protein with the drug. It treats cancer with the HER2 receptor. Okay, so it is a second line treatment that is used when traditional therapy failed. It was approved for breast cancer in 2019 and for certain gastrointestinal cancer in 2021. It was the first drug in its class to receive tissue agnostic approval from the FDA, Federal Drug Administration of USA, meaning it can treat any cancer with HER2 receptor regardless of its origin. The drug cost around 1.6 lakh per vial. Then osimertinib, most used cancer drug in India for lungs cancer with epidermal growth factor receptors involved in cancer development. It is effective for 25%-30% of the cancer in non-smoking women. Blocks EGFR receptors on cancer cells, stopping cancer growth. Application: prescribed after surgery or as a first line treatment for the metastatic cancer. Can be used until it stops working or causes severe toxicity. Benefit: extend patient survival 4 to 5 years compared to other treatments. Cost: the drug is expensive, costing 1.5 lakh for a strip of 10 pills. It must be taken daily. Then the durvalumab immunotherapy treatment. So treat certain lungs cancer, biliary tract cancer, bladder cancer, and the liver cancer. So blind to PD-L1 protein on cancer cell, which helps the immune system recognize and kill these cells. Studies show that patients on the durvalumab remain in remission longer and live longer. Cost: sold at the Impinji. It cost about 1.5 lakh. Okay, so the sold as Imgene in Finch, it cost about 1 lakh per 10 ml vial. With the significant the customs duty exemption on the cancer drugs, financial relief, the exemption will reduce the financial burden on cancer patients and their families. It will make these drugs more accessible to Indian patients. Meet additional expenses. Okay, so efficacy, they are targeted therapies that offer much better results than traditional therapies. Okay, then the next topic is very important about the mangroves. So 26 July, the International Day for the Conservation of Mangrove Ecosystem, established by the UNESCO in 2015. This day highlights the unique and vulnerable nature of mangroves. Okay, so mangrove ecosystem established by UNESCO in 2015. This day highlights the unique and vulnerable nature of mangrove and promote their sustainable management and conservation. Mangrove, often called the sentinels of the coast, offer numerous benefits. They protect shorelines, mitigate storms and cyclone impacts, support fish nurseries, sequester carbon, helps in carbon sequestration and nutrients, maintain genetic diversity and provide other ecological advantages. India's mangrove area grew from 4,046 square kilometer in 1987 to 4,092 992 square kilometer in 2019. As reported by the Forest Service of India, this progress is notable compared to global decline of 3.4% mangrove cover since 1996, where globally the mangrove forest is falling. In India, fortunately, this is growing, which is a good news. And also, especially if you take the case of Odisha, Odisha has achieved substantial progress in the increase in the mangrove forest area. Fine. What is the issue with mangrove conservation in India? Decline in natural coastal wetland. The National Decadal Wetland Change Atlas reported decline in natural coastal wetland from 3.69 million hectare in 2006 to 3.62 million hectare in 2018. So, loss of intertidal mudflats. Intertidal mudflats, important for migratory birds and carbon storage, have been reduced due to mangrove plantation and other causes. Changing these mudflats to mangrove area leads to a loss of their vital functions because they act as a carbon storage facility. Restoration challenge. Mangrove restoration usually involves planting propagules, a okay. Then restoration challenge. Mangrove restoration usually involves planting propagules, a method popular after the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. However, these efforts face low survival rate and may not tackle. Okay, so accommodation space. Mangrove needs space to adjust to rising sea levels and accumulating sediments. In cities like Mumbai, where development encroaches on mangroves, the lack of this space can hinder their ability to adapt to climate change. Okay, then Threat to mangrove. Mangrove are threatened by over harvesting, pollution, land conservation and development. Impact of climate change. Climate change affects mangrove with rising sea levels, higher temperature and more frequent storms, while warmer temperature could promote growth. Increased storms and sea level rise are major challenges to this. What should be the way forward? Broadening the policy target. Policy should focus on overall coastal ecosystem health, not just expanding mangrove cover. Mangrove are interconnected. Okay, managing mangrove and coastal ecosystem must address climate risk and include adaptation strategy. Climate models should be designed as per the local hydrological and ecological conditions. Expanding restoration tools. Mangrove restoration should expand to include hydrological and sediment restoration along with the combined grey-green solutions. Means new and old. Integrating sector plans. Sector plans for water, disaster management, fisheries and tourism must consider the need for mangrove and coastal ecosystem. Assessing ecosystem values. Coastal resilience should be based on understanding the value of ecosystem. Okay, integrating sector plan for water, disaster management, etc. Assessing ecosystem value. Coastal resilience should be based on understanding the value of ecosystem and involve everyone in society. The new national coastal mission may lead to these changes. Then next topic is on ethics, ethics of philanthropy. We must consider the time. Okay, benefit of making Charidio Moidam to the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Recently, the Charidio Moidam, an ancient mound burial system from the Ohum dynasty in Assam, has been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This 700-year-old site, added recently, is now the 43rd property from India to be included in this esteemed list of the World Heritage Site of UNESCO. Okay. Okay. So this 700-year-old site added recently is now the 43rd property. So global recognition and the prestige, achieving World Heritage status brings international attention and respect, showcasing the region's unique and significant cultural heritage. The recognition elevates the status of the site, aligning it with other globally renowned heritage sites. Tourism boost. World Heritage status typically leads to increased tourism attraction. Visitors from abroad. So enhanced tourism can stimulate local economy, providing new opportunity for business, job and infrastructure development. Then cultural preservation being listed encourages effort to preserve and protect the site, ensuring its cultural and historical integrity for future generations. It often leads to increased funding and resources dedicated to the conservation and maintenance of the site. Educational and research opportunity. The site became a focal point for educational program and research, attracting scholars, historians, and archaeologists. It provides a rich resources for academic study and can promote awareness and understanding of the region's cultural heritage. The community pride and identity. Local community often experience a sense of pride and enhanced identity from having a World Heritage Site. It fosters a connection to their heritage and can enhance cultural traditions and practices. Sustainable development. World Heritage status encourages sustainable tourism and development practices, ensuring that okay. So community pride and identity, sustainable development, World Heritage status encourages sustainable tourism and development practices, ensuring that economic benefits do not come at the expense of the site's preservation. It promotes balance and responsible management of natural and cultural resources. International cooperation. Being part of the World Heritage Community facilitates international cooperation and exchange of best practices in conservation and management. It can lead to partnership and collaboration with other World Heritage sites and global heritage organizations. Funding and grants. UNESCO listing can open door to various funding opportunity and grants for conservation, research and tourism development. It encourages long-term financial support for upkeep and promotion of the site. The next is RBI releases new PCA. PCA stands for Prompt Corrective Action Framework for Urban Cooperative Banks. The RBI has introduced a new Prompt Corrective Action Framework aimed at improving weak urban cooperative banks. Urban cooperative banks are the cooperative structure banks. Okay, so the PCA framework is designed to, so this framework will replace the existing supervisory action framework and will be effective from 1st April 2025. The PCA framework is designed to ensure timely intervention and corrective measures for the weak urban cooperative banks. It focuses more on larger UCB that requires intensive monitoring, thereby optimizing supervisory resources. Applicability. The new PCA framework will apply to UCB with deposits exceeding 100 crore. UCB are categorized into 4 tiers based on their deposit size, like the UCB with deposit up to tier 1 up to 100 crore, tier 2 UCB with deposit above 100 crore but less than 1000 crore, tier 3 UCB with deposit above 1000 crore but less than 10,000 crore, tier 4 UCB with deposit above 10,000 crore and above. Currently, tier 1 UCB are excluded from the PCA framework but will continue to be under the enhanced monitoring framework of the government. Criteria for involving the PCA, if that CAR, okay, so falls up to 250 basic points below the required level. Okay, so if net NPA, non-performing asset, are above 6% but below 9%, if a bank incurs losses for 2 consecutive years, then it will be coming under the PCA guidelines. First, the PCA framework will be invoked based on the reports The revised framework allow for entity-specific supervisory action plans based on risk assessment. The hard-coded limit of 25,000 for restrictions on capital expenditure under the revised SAF has been removed, giving supervisor the flexibility to set limit based on their assessment of each entity. UCB can exit the PCA framework if no breaches in risk threshold are observed across four successive quarterly financial statements. Then India assumed chair of the Asian Disaster Preparedness Center. Recently India assumed the chairmanship of the ADPC, Asian Disaster Preparedness Center. ADPC is autonomous international organization established in 1986. It focuses on cooperation and implementation of disaster risk reduction and building climate resilience in the Asia Pacific region. ADPC provides training, deploy disaster risk management strategy, and work to mitigate the impact of natural disasters and climate change. Founding member includes India, Bangladesh, Cambodia, China, Nepal, Pakistan, Philippines, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. India chaired the fifth board of the trust meeting of ADPC. The meeting was held on July 25, 2024 in Bangkok of Thailand. Rajendra Singh, member of and HOD of the National Disaster Management Authority, has taken over the chairmanship of the Asian Disaster Preparedness from China. Because India has done commendable role in disaster management. Okay. So then capital gain tax, the Union Budget 2024 has introduced significant modification to the capital taxation on the capital gain in India. Any profit or gain that arises from the sale of a capital asset is known as the income from capital gains. Such capital gain are taxable in the year in which the transfer of the capital asset takes place. This is called the capital gain tax. Holding period. Earlier there are three holding periods for considering an asset to be long-term capital asset. Now the holding period has been simplified. There are only two holding periods for listed securities. It is 1 year. For all other assets, it is 2 years only. Increase from 10 to 12.5%. Exemption limit. The exemption limit for 1 lakh of LTCG on these assets has been increased to 1.25 lakhs. This increased exemption limit will apply to financial year 24-25 and subsequent years. Then the poverty blockers. Elon Musk has alleged that his transgender child was figuratively killed by the oak mind virus after being tricked into using puberty blockers. These are drugs that can delay the changes of puberty in transgender and gender diverse teens. Physical changes during puberty, a child's body goes through physical changes in the process of becoming an adult capable of sex analogous which inhibit the production of the sex hormones. If people assign male at birth, they slow facial and body hair growth, prevent voice deepening, and limit the growth of the penis, scrotum, and the testicles. In people assigned female at birth, these drugs limit or stop breast development and the menstruation. Application: puberty blockers are also used in cases of precocious puberty, a condition in which a child's body begins changing too soon, before the age of 8 or girls and above the age of 9 in boys. Administering a shot has to be given monthly or every 3 months or every 6 months. The medication may be given along also through an implant placed under the skin of the upper arm. This implant usually needs to be replaced every 12 months. Then come to the question answer session, discuss the causes of depletion of the mangroves and explain their importance in maintaining the coastal ecology. Mangroves are okay. Mangrove are unique coastal ecosystem found in tropical and subtropical regions. They play a vital role in protecting shorelines, supporting marine biodiversity, and sequestering carbon. Mangrove act as a natural barrier against storm surge and tsunami, reducing the impact of natural disasters on coastal communities. The dense root system traps sediments, improving water quality and providing a habitat for numerous species. Causes of depletion of mangroves: urbanization and coastal development. Rapid urbanization and infrastructure development along coastline lead to the destruction of the mangrove habitat. In Mumbai, India, large area of mangrove have been cleared for real estate projects. Agricultural expansion: conversion of mangrove area into agricultural land, especially for shrimp farming, has led to significant loss. In Bangladesh, extensive shrimp farming has degraded the vast mangrove areas. Pollution: industrial discharge, oil spills, and plastic waste pollution harm mangrove health. The Gulf of Mexico oil spill severely affect the mangrove forest along the coast. Climate change: rising sea level and increased frequency of extreme weather events threaten mangrove survival. In the Sundarban, sea level rise is submerging large tract of the mangroves, and regular cyclone affect them. Okay, so in the Sundarban, okay, deforestation for fuelwood, local community often rely on mangrove for firewood and timber, leading to unsustainable harvesting. For instance, in many parts of Southeast Asia, mangrove are extensively cut for wood. Mining activity, extraction of mineral and oil in the coastal region can lead to habitat destruction. The mangrove, like the Kalimantan, Indonesia, have been adversely affected by mining activity. Invasive species: introduction of non-native species can disrupt mangrove ecosystem. The spread of invasive mangrove apple tree has altered native mangrove habitat in Hawaii. Importance in maintaining coastal ecology: mangrove provide a habitat for the diverse array of species, including fish, birds, and the invertebrates. The Sundarban is home to the endangered Bengal tiger. Carbon sequestration: mangrove are highly efficient in storing carbon, helping mitigate climate change. For example, current studies suggest that mangroves and coastal wetlands annually sequester carbon at a rate 10 times than the natural tropical forest. That means they are the importance of. Current studies suggest that mangrove and coastal wetlands annually sequester carbon at rate 10 times greater than mature tropical forest. Mangrove act as natural buffers, reducing coastal erosion and protecting inland area from the storm surge and tsunami. During 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, area with intact mangrove experienced less damage. Nutrient cycling: mangrove play a crucial role in nutrient cycling and maintaining water quality by trapping sediments and pollutants. For instance, they help filter water, ensuring cleaner coastal environment. Fishery support: many commercially important fish species rely on mangrove for breeding and the nursery grounds. The mangrove in Florida support valuable shrimp and fish population. Livelihood support: mangrove provide resources for local communities, including food, medicine, and material for construction. In the Philippines, mangrove support ecotourism and the fisheries. Climate regulation: by storing large amount of carbon, mangrove help regulate local climate conditions and mitigate the global warming. Mangrove help maintain temperature and humidity level in the coastal region. Conserving mangrove is essential for maintaining coastal ecology and supporting the livelihood of the millions of people. Efforts must focus on sustainable management, community involvement, and restoring degraded mangrove areas. Policy and international cooperation are crucial in safeguarding this vital ecosystem for future generation. This is the importance of mangroves. Okay. So thank you for watching. Keep watching regular to update yourself on a daily basis. Thank you.